I am so happy how they turned out. Lately I've been creating more botanical pieces for the plant shop. So today we're going to create a beautiful wall decoration using a tufting gun. Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Daisy. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I love testing new machines and using them to create projects that we can actually use, decorate with, or even sell. I have been using the original Clawlab Tufting H1 to create projects like rags, but now Clawlab has launched the new H1 Light, a more compact version that takes up less space and is much more comfortable for smaller and medium-sized projects like the one we're creating today. After working with the original version, I can definitely say that this machine feels much easier to use. It's lightweight, very comfortable to handle, and perfect if you're just starting in the world of tufting or if you simply don't have a large craft space. So today we're not making a rug. We're creating a wall decoration with these three leaves that I already have drawn here. I am also going to show you where you can get this design so you can create your own. Before starting the project, I want to quickly compare the original Clawlab Tufting H1 with the new Clawlab Tufting H1 Light, especially when it comes to setting up the frame. When I first got the Clawlab Tufting H1, one of the things I noticed was that setting up the frame took a little more time. Since it is designed for much larger projects like big rugs, the frame is wider. This is a great advantage because it allows you to create larger pieces with more details, but it also requires more space and a little more time to prepare. Stretching the fabric on this frame also takes a little more effort, especially if you're working by yourself. But the advantage is that you have a much larger work area, which gives you more possibilities for bigger designs. Now, let's take a look at the new Clawlab Tufting H1 Light. One of the first things I noticed is how easy and quick it is to set up the frame. Because it is more compact, it is much easier to assemble. Place the fabric and get everything ready to start working. For projects like the ones we're creating today, a botanical wall hanging, the size is perfect. It doesn't take up much space, and you can easily keep it in your studio, craft room, or even a smaller workspace. I think this is one of the biggest advantages of the H1 Light. It makes tufting much more accessible for people who want to create beautiful pieces without needing a large workspace or previous experience because it is very easy to use. And this is how easy it is to assemble. Now I'm just going to tighten these screws and then we'll move on to placing the fabric. Placing and stretching the fabric on this frame is also very easy. When doing tufting, we need to make sure the fabric is completely stretched because if it's not tight enough, the fabric can get damaged while we're working. It can also make the tufting process more difficult. I know this from experience because it has happened to me before. Once we have stretched the fabric a little, we're going to secure it using these 4 pieces that come with the frame. And if it still doesn't look completely tight, don't worry, there is one more step. After placing the last piece, we're going to go to the top and lift these levers to fully stretch the fabric. And now the fabric is ready for us to start tufting. I'm going to show you how I create the designs that we will trace onto the fabric. To create my designs, I use the free version of Canva. It is optional if you want to pay the membership. If you have the membership, you will have access to more images and elements. But the free version of Canva also offers many options that we can use. First, we go to the custom size and select letter size or whatever size you would like to use. Then we go to elements, and here we can type the name of the design or image we are looking for. For example, I'm going to search for Monstera leaf outline. I'm going to add the word outline because I want a traced version of the design. Then we select graphic, and here we will see different traced designs. We can search for flowers, animal, leaves, or any design we want to create. As we scroll down, we can find different options. The ones with the crown are only available with the Canva membership, and the ones without the crown are free to use. There are so many different designs available. Since I am looking for leaves, I'm going to choose a leaf design that I like. Now I'm going to insert it and resize it. If we want to print a large leaf or a bigger design, we can simply enlarge it. For example, we can print it in 4 different sections. First, we duplicate the image and move it to the other side so we can print the other half. Then we duplicate it and rotate it to print the bottom section. And now we have the complete leaf. When we print it, we can pull all the pieces together like a puzzle. It doesn't have to be perfectly aligned because we're going to use this as a guide to trace the design onto the fabric. Now we click on Share, then Download and save our design. Once it is downloaded, we can open it and print each section. You can use any printer you have available. I'm using my Epson EcoTank ET15000 inkjet printer. After printing all the pieces, we assemble them like a puzzle and attach them together using tape or any glue you prefer. Now we're going to place the design onto the fabric. I'm going to secure it with pins, and then I will trace the design onto the fabric using a marker. Now that we have our design traced, it's time to thread the tufting gun. If you're using the yarn that comes included with the machine, you can easily work with just one strand. The yarn is quite thick, very soft, and has a beautiful texture. In my case, I'm going to use a different yarn because I wanted specific colors to match the decoration in my studio, and those colors were not included in the kit. Since this yarn is a little thinner, I'm going to use 2 strands at the same time to get better coverage. But this is completely optional. You can use 1 or 2 strands depending on the type of yarn you're using and the look you want to achieve. Threading the tufting gun is very easy. We're just going to use the threader that comes included with the machine. Another feature I really like is that we can adjust the speed using the dial located on the back of the machine. If you're a beginner, I recommend starting at a slower speed and increasing it as you become more comfortable using the machine. Before we begin, make sure your fabric is stretched tightly on the frame. Then, make a small test area outside of your design to make sure everything is working properly. Remember, we always start tufting from the bottom to the top. Before we begin tufting, I want to show you a small detail. The first design I prepared has a little more detail and some smaller areas. So to make it easier for you to see the tufting process and how to control the gun, I'm going to start with the simplest leaf of the tree. I will show you this part in real time first, so you can see how the machine works. And then I will speed up the process so the video doesn't become too long. We now have the first layer, which is the outline. Next, we're going to change the color and start filling in the design. I love how it's starting to look. One thing I love about tufting is that for me, this doesn't feel like work. It feels more like a relaxing moment of creativity. I love listening to the sound of the tufting gun as it creates each stitch and watching the design slowly come to life. And we are done. Now I'm just going to trim on the back to clean everything up a little before applying the adhesive. Next, we'll remove the piece from the frame. We already finished with the leaves. We need to clean them, and I'm sure after cleaning them up, they are going to take form. But before cleaning them, we're going to seal on the back. To seal them, we're going to use the TPU hot melt adhesive powder, and to cure them, we're going to use the Clawlab heat press. I'm going to link all of these items down in the description below. Before applying the adhesive powder, let's make sure we remove or we cut all those long threads so the area doesn't absorb too much powder. You can leave them if you want to, but I just prefer cutting them. Let's clean the other one. Well, now we're going to apply the adhesive powder. For that, we're going to use a heat-resistant surface. The press comes with one, but it's for much smaller items, so that's why I'm going to use this for now. Okay. Before we apply the powder, I'm going to preheat the press, and I'm going to preheat it at 320 degrees Fahrenheit and set the timer for about 30 to 40 seconds. Since the leaf is larger than the heat mat, we're going to do it in 2 sections. Okay. I'm going to apply a layer of TPU powder, making sure we cover all the stitches. So with this, we're going to ensure that the stitches don't undo. Before pressing, we're going to place a silicone layer on top. The heat press is ready. Since the press is smaller than the leaf, we will cure it in sections. You can also slightly overlap each press to make sure the entire surface is covered. This little heat press is really convenient for projects like this. Besides curing tufted pieces, you can also use it for DTF transfer, HTV, and other small heat transfer projects. I haven't tried with sublimation yet, but I imagine it will work well for smaller designs. The great thing about this method is how quickly everything cures. Unlike liquid adhesive that need hours to dry, this process is almost instant. Let's remove the silicone sheet. Look at that. The back is completely sealed. Now the stitches are locked in place and won't come apart. We still need to clean up the front, but I always prefer sealing the back first so the stitches stay secure while carving. This last leaf turned out especially nice. I'm really proud of this one. The more I practice, the better my result become. Now we're going to carve the leaves. For that, we're going to use this razor. We can use it like this or we can use the base. I like to use the base because I feel like I get an even carving. Remember to check the description down below, since there I'm going to link all of the supplies used in this video. After carving the surface, we're going to cut away the excess fabric and leaving about half an inch around the edge. Then I will make a few cuts with my scissors. This makes it much easier to fold the edges inward. Next, we'll fold the fabric over. We will work one section at a time. Place the Teflon layer over the edge and apply heat. You can use a regular iron or the Clawlab heat press. No additional glue is needed because the adhesive activates again when heated. Once all the edges are folded, it's time to attach the backing fabric. You can use any type of backing you prefer. This one is commonly used for rugs, but I also like using it for wall art because it gives the back a clean, finished look. To make cutting easier, I'll trace the leaf first. Then I'll cut the backing about 1/4 of an inch inside the traced line. Now all of the backing pieces are ready. I could glue them on right now, but since I'm creating a wall hanging with a macrame style detail, I'm going to attach that first. I'm using 1/4 of an inch macrame cord. I will glue it around the edges using hot glue. The 1/4 of an inch macrame cord is made of 3 twisted strands. I untwisted them to create a softer, more natural look. For the center leaf, I use a thinner macrame cord. I'm not sure what size it is, but you can definitely see the difference. Once everything is attached, I will carefully trim around the edges one more time. Just be careful not to accidentally cut the macrame cord. I am so happy how they turned out. I think they are going to look beautiful on my wall. I was planning to hang them on a dry branch, but the one I got was so small, so I need to look for a longer branch, and I think they are going to look gorgeous. But in the meantime, we are going to hang them just like this. I am so in love with these ones and I cannot wait to create more. And it was so easy to make them using my new Clawlab Tufting H1 Light. As you can see, with the new Clawlab Tufting H1 Light, you are not limited to making rugs. You can also create beautiful wall decor like we did today. You could even make tote bags, decorative pillow covers, or custom covers for your crafting machines. There are so many creative possibilities. Remember, I'm going to link them in the video description down below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of my new projects. Thanks for watching and see you next time.